press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
The Americans and the Japanese also creates fear that the Chinese will respond. And sure enough, on the day that Xi Jinping came, not just to India, but to Gujarat, Narendra Modi's home state, the Chinese forces on the border with the Indians came across where they think the border is. It's hard. It's up in the it's up in the mountains, and it's really hard to know exactly where the line of control is. They came across the border, and Modi, since then, has turned a very cold shoulder to the Chinese. He's willing to live with some Chinese tension, and he seems to have moved much closer to the United States and Japan just since October.
What was the logic of that? That you have the new Chinese Premier Xi Jinping is in India on presumably a friendly visit, but then his military crosses the border up in the Himalayas at the same time. I mean, what's the Chinese logic of that?
Well, I think there's two theories, maybe as Bill has more. One is that the military is operating autonomously on its own and asserting its own authority.
Sending a signal to their own premier. Right?
Exactly. And the second is that Xi is testing Modi. Let's see if he'll say it out in public that this is going on, or he'll want to push it under the table. And if he pushes it under the table, then maybe I'm going to be able to sway this guy.
And just the momentum that's carried forward into the India-U.S. relationship with the warm visit of Modi to the United States, which was not a done deal. Modi was kind of upset because for the years that he was chief minister in Gujarat, the United States wouldn't issue him a visa because of these race riots. So he couldn't come to the United States. And this is his first visit ever to the United States. But he gets a warm embrace from Obama. He gets 18,000 people at Madison Square Garden in a sort of rock concert kind of event. And then he welcomes Obama to India in early 2015, and they have this big bear hug at the airport in Delhi. Barack Hussein Obama and Hindu nationalist Narendra Modi. This is a dramatic breakthrough. He seems to be looking past a lot of, in the United States, there are people that fear that Obama is a Muslim, a closet Muslim. In India, though, there are those fears as well. They've had their own terrorist attacks. And the fact that Obama and Modi seem to be getting along so well is taken really seriously in India. This is a big, big shift.
And so when the president says that this could be a defining partnership of the next century, and even though it's always a sign that these days that if the current president, certainly this current president, it's a sign that they must be actually achieving something of some positive nature for the country, generally speaking, if they then begin to be hysterically attacked on a basis that you can't quite figure out from the opposite end of the spectrum. And so even Obama has gotten, I've seen op-ed pieces about that, this isn't Obama's success, this is Modi's success. And so even as these things are happening, there's this sniping around the heels. But fundamentally, this is a change that ought to be in the benefit of everybody in the country. I mean, if this really is a defining partnership, it's not really a Democratic thing or a Republican thing. But at a time when we are very aware of what a bad job the U.S. has done in long-term thinking and foreign policy and in the assisting other countries, other societies in developing themselves from either chaos we've created or just inherent poverty and difficulties that they have, we've done a bad job of that for the last 20 or 30 years. But here's a country that we have cultural ties with, shares democracy as we do, is not aligned in a terrible way with any of our enemies in ways that can't be undone, and that one could imagine, if we're talking about a century-long sort of relationship, that this isn't just a more friendly relationship with a country that we used to be not so friendly with. It's the chance to build an alliance or to have an ally that is huge and powerful and rich and can be a military partner and shares our values and is in the right part of the world to help to make it where we don't have to be the only people who are going after the bad guys in that part of the world. I mean, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah,
a massive kind of alliance?
I think that's the promise. The devil's in the details, right? They've got to really actually get this nuclear agreement done. Americans still fear outsourcing. Indians want more high-tech visas for their workers to come to the United States, the famous H-1B visa. India hasn't gone as far as China's gone in working together with the United States on global warming. There's a big global warming negotiation in Paris in 2015. In President Obama's last meeting with Xi Jinping, one of the breakthroughs was that they came to a common agreement on what's going to be done in Paris. I think Modi cares about climate change. He's got still very hard internal politics, because the big challenge in the United States and India is we're both democracies, right? It's ugly, it's messy, and we're complicated democracies. You can't do everything at the central level. You have to go back out to the states. One man can't make all those things happen. The devil is in the details on getting this done.